Hello and welcome back to my walkthrough to Final Fantasy 15. In the last episode we were tidying up some missions around the sort of lead Dusk Sky border, and now we're here at Wiz's Chocobo, ready to sort of essentially, I think by now it's time for us to move on. Episode Ignis is incredibly close right now, which I'm incredibly excited about. And so I think it is well worth us taking the trip down to Cape Caem and essentially starting off from there again. We will just, I think we'll just actually also zip through. But first of all, we also have a bunch of ascension points to look at. And I feel like these are well worth looking at. So these are all strength levels, and those we have double the items gained from fishing, gain experience for catching fish, but that's 333. You can see that some of these are just ridiculously long. 99, 99, 333. So yeah, we're just essentially just looking for relatively cheap stuff. Warp Punish and Time Restore. I don't think we need that, to be honest. What do we have here? We have boosted damage for the Armiger chain. Why not? And AP for Armiger chain. Anything that gives us AP is always going to be good. We have Enhance the Magic. Enhanced Magic is always going to be a good thing. Indeed, if Enhanced Potency by 30 when crafting spells. Ooh, that's actually very good. What is it? 99. Yeah, that's worth it. It essentially just means that you get, I get, you know, even better spells for that. So obviously, we got a lot more things to sort of get, but again, we're like nowhere near sort of making our way through this. I would love to get, where do we get like Air Step and stuff like that? They must be around. Yeah, Air Slip, Air Stride, Air Dance are all very useful, stuff like that. But yeah, no, Element C to start off with, but also we are going to head over to the Regalia and make our way over to Cape Caem. Now, we left the Regalia a ways away, so let's just... no, we want to return to the car. So yeah, with Ignis so close, I think it's time that we sort of get going. Also, we are more than highly leveled enough to really start thinking about making our way through the end game here. And even if we weren't, even once we hit the more linear sections of the game, essentially... once we hit those linear sections, even then we can actually make our way back to the overworld, this large overworld here, and actually just complete quests from this position. So there's really a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do and what order you need to do things in. I think pretty much from now on, once we hit Ignis, so once we head to Altissia and then we have episode Ignis, and I'll be doing, obviously, another series on that, much like I did with Gladiolus. We do Ignis, and then we'll start racing through the end game chapters. So we've got chapter 10, chapter 11, chapter 12, 13, 14, and essentially included with all that is also, obviously, episode Prompto. And then we also have, at the end, we'll then be coming back into chapter 15, and then we can actually essentially finish off everything else that we've got going on around this sort of huge map that of things for us to do, and everything else that we need to do.
Really looking forward to Iris' cooking.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Aw, don't be that way.
So for some reason we are having a second loading screen. I'm not entirely sure why. It might be because it's like close to the cutscenes or something. But yeah, so we're going to hopefully make our way through this quite successfully. There are also hunts to do in Altissia, and now that we can actually accept multiple multiple hunts at once, that should actually really help us.
It seems some old tombs aren't even found in Lucis.
No way to cross the pond to hunt those down.
Nope. That's why I've been hunting in books instead.
The thing
It's weird. Ravis has a sword but doesn't use it.
He doesn't use it because he can't. Who the hell's he think it belonged to?
Why does he bother carrying it at all?
So there we see some sort of little touches, sort of regarding like these characters' thoughts, and also the touch that obviously some of the kings of Lucis aren't actually placed here in Lucis.
The Imperial High Commander? Heard he's been swaggering about with his Majesty's sword.
Heard the same. That guy's got some nerve.
So there you hear that
How are you today?
Revis actually has King Regis's sword, so not his father's sword. So we can actually get a Deadly Waters Coraldevil and a Deadly Waters Seadevil here.
Thank you!
You know, just to go along with our usual thing of actually picking up every single lure that we have. And then we can also get iron recipes as well. And so we have the option of buying the cat food here. Obviously, we can also make the cat food. We will eventually need to buy it. So, as you can see, it's bound to please the most finicky of felines. We won't buy it yet. We'll buy it when we sort of finish off
That's
that quest, the quest that we
what?
see.
I've come up with a new recipe.
So obviously,
I could taste test for you.
the recipe comes from the
The marshal is so amazing. Sounds like somebody's in love. Wouldn't go that far, though I wouldn't mind talking. Only he'd stay still for a moment.
So they're obviously talking about core. But yeah, obviously we got that recipe because of the booklet that we've just purchased. Okay, so yeah, we just want to pretty much tidy up everything, things that are around here, and then start making our
I'm not sure whether it's a storm
way
front or
forward.
just the terrain.
Yeah, just worry about your stuff blowing away.
So, orienteering checkpoint E, relish a treat made from the sprinklings of wheat, but the taste of victory lies further ahead. Seek the fire-wielding matron on the water, guarding the gem of the shell on the
That's
sea.
it.
That
What's
is
up,
another
baby?
recipe for us.
I've come up with a new recipe.
Can't wait to try it.
So yeah, I need to sort of keep a track on things, and I think that's something that I'll be looking to do actually more often. Because hopefully you've been noticing that in the description of these videos, I've been adding lots and lots of detail about like all of the items and things that like that we've been finding in each of these episodes. But I can appreciate that can be quite sort of overwhelming. So maybe having sort of, or at least taking the time occasionally just to sort of essentially just take a break and actually explain things from a more sort of generalized standpoint. So maybe sort of go through all the weapons and where we got them and all that sort of stuff might be way more useful. So we're going to get the photo op for the lighthouse.
Let's get a shot with the lighthouse. Hair blowing in the breeze. We'll be seaside supermodels.
Seaside supermodels it is then.
Oh yeah! Seaside supermodels!
So we get a photo op for the beacon, which is literally just, you know, further down this road. There's no point in not doing it, essentially. It's free experience. We can actually head over here and talk to Iris, I believe, for a quest. And also Talcott has a quest for us. So if we head inside, this is a rest spot as well, I believe. But yeah, so we can talk to Talcott for a quest.
How you doing, Talcott?
Good, Prince Noctis.
What's that there?
Oh, this thing? It's a cactuar figurine. I really like cactuars.
Oh,
You can buy them in different places and in different colors. I want to finish the collection, but I still need a yellow one and a blue one. I guess you wouldn't have seen them at any shops, have you?
oh, sorry, no. Never paid attention to them before.
Oh, well, of course you wouldn't.
But I will from now on. If I see the colors you're missing, I'll grab them for you.
you!
So, as we see, Crazy About Cactuars is here, and we can actually immediately complete one of them, because we have actually already got some of these. We can also... We can't chat to people around here. But yeah, so there we get the hidden getaway sort of rest spot. We get a Regalia Crest thing to put on the sticker to put on the Regalia. We also get a Lucian King's Crest. So yeah.
One time, my grandpa bought me the green one. I was so happy. I couldn't sleep all night.
So yeah, we have obviously already got a cactus.
It'd be nice if we could find some way to track down the Cactuars for him.
Gotta say, though, it's a pretty grown-up hobby for a little guy.
Perhaps we could survey some shops while we're still in Lucis.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
So obviously everyone there is sort of talking about helping out. Helping Talcott out. If I check my quests, I think... So there's Crazy About Cactuars. And you can see we've also got a Cactuar of Mortar, which is the blue one. And I think we've also got... I think we obviously already had one because we gave it into him. The other thing we can do is we can go over here and talk to Iris for a quest.
Hey there.
Do we actually talk to her about this?
The elevator? It takes you right down to the dock.
Have we already spoken to her about the
Good
garden?
news, Noct. Our garden is up and running. So, Noct, you gonna put your green thumb to the test?
And do what with it?
Grow vegetables? You can eat them or sell them if you want.
Fine. So what do I do?
It all starts with a seed. Here, try these.
So we can now get Caem carrots at the on Iris's field. Now, Noctis doesn't like carrots, as he says. But what we can do is, because they're relatively rare, we can actually sell them or trade them for for some unique items.
Take a shot from here.
Even some unique
Call.
weapons.
Now it's picture time.
Do, 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 do. So yeah, I mean,
Let
obviously,
me get this shot.
it's been a fair while since I've actually, Iris coming in and just photobombing us.
Oh, love the lighting.
But yeah, no, we've already, it's been a while since I've recorded, so I might have just forgotten that we have that little conversation there with Iris. But, about the farming. But essentially, so what we can do is we can head over here. This is the farm. And we can sow some seeds. And as it says there, we can essentially check on them once we've once we've waited a certain amount of time, and once we do that, we'll then get the chance to essentially to then trade these Caem carrots for various useful items, various quest items, and even some rather unique weapons. So we'll get a Mega Potion from there, and now what we can do is we can start heading up to the beacon. I will have a series of sort of conversations to do around there. Ding 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 ding. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do though, before we talk to people inside, is we can come around the back, and we have this rather.
Huh? Hey, you're the cat we saw in Galden. Oh, your paws sure brought you a long way from home, little guy. You must be hungry after all that walking. No restaurants around, though. Wonder if anyone around here knows a thing or two about cat food.
Why don't you try asking Monica?
She mentioned having kept several cats back home.
Wow, and she never gave off a crazy cat lady vibe. I hope we don't have to go all the way back to Galden.
Especially after the cat came all the way to Caem.
What drew him here anyway?
His dear friend Noct, of course.
So obviously we have the cat here, and in order to feed, we can either buy that cat food from the stall at the front, or as they say, we can talk to Monica. What we then need to do is catch a much harder fish than we had to for the one in Galden, obviously, and then we go through there. So, now that we're here, we can now start talking to everyone here.
Nif make this time? Is there nothing you lot won't pick up? Anywho, show me the parts and I'll show you serious firepower.
So, as we see is some more Sid quests, essentially. We have the
right. I'll give you a call when it's ready.
Engine Blade Mark III.
Nice.
The Cactuette needle is for
I'll get to work.
the auto crossbow. The dynamo for the
Y'all brace yourself for power.
bioblaster. It's just the hydraulic cylinder for the gravity well, and obviously
Stand up straight, boy.
Okay, so it wants us to unequip. Yeah, because we're not actually going to get access to those weapons now, which is a little. You could say a little hindrance, but it's no real problem because, as I said before, we can actually travel back to Lucis whenever we really want to, so it's not too much of a problem. So actually, in that mind, gravity well, you can have the circular saw instead. And
Y'all brace yourself for power. Y'all brace yourself for power.
okay, so we can't do it because we're waiting for the other ones, which is a little annoying, but there we go. And resting doesn't guarantee that we'll get it, so we might as well just keep going. So once you depart, you'll lose all access, and we will set sail, so yes. So there we go, with Umbra ready to take our message to Luna Freya there. We can now descend down towards our boat, and then we'll be able to make our way across the sea over to Altissia.
Look, Prince Noctis, even the Marshal came to say goodbye.
So we get a Heliodor bracelet there, and we can talk to everyone along the way. So initially we
I heard
have...
the Regalia's going on the boat with you. You didn't forget to pack anything, did you? Have a safe trip, Prince Noctis. Don't you worry. I'm gonna be strong and keep everybody safe while you're gone. You didn't forget to pack anything, did you?
I guess it's goodbye for now. The Regalia's already waiting below deck. Hopefully, she'll serve you as well across the ocean as she did here. Just don't break her, or Sid'll have your head. The Regalia's already waiting below deck.
Okay, so once more they talk about the Regalia. We come down and we're going to have a conversation, I think, with Cor.
Something I gotta get off my chest.
What's that?
I'm sorry. Sorry I wasn't there for your father. I swore an oath to protect the king, but I wasn't strong enough to uphold it.
Ain't nothing nobody could have done to stop what happened.
Yeah. realize that.
But you need to realize just what you mean to the boys by your side.
I do.
Even if they can't solve your problems, you can't hide what's going on from them. It hurts like hell. Remember, those ain't your bodyguards. They're your brothers. Trust in them, always.
So there we have sort of reminiscing, I guess, almost about when Cid went on his journey with Regis and the others. So before we leave, we should definitely talk to Core. We should also read what I'm assuming is another copy of Cosmogony. A rotted soil under blighted sky, a dread plague the wicked has wrought. In the light of the gods' sword sworn at his side, 'gainst the dark the king's battle is fought. From the heavens high to the blessed below, shines the beam of a peace long besought. Long live thy line and this stone divine, for the night when all comes to naught. Okay, so there we see sort of more sort of stories about how the king fights against this sort of darkness. And then we can also talk to Core, and I think he gives us a magic
never have
flask.
too many tools. Here, learn to wield not only weapons, but magic as well.
Yeah, so we get one more magic
Just
flask.
remember, it's a destructive force that doesn't discriminate. I suggest putting someone in charge of it. Just remember, it's a destructive force that doesn't discriminate.
So I think that is everything, and now what we can do is we can head over. We'll be able to start making the trip over. Anything else? Doesn't look like it. It's time to get on the ship.
Waiting for an invitation? Get your asses on board.
Hey, Your Majesty!
What's up?
Please, come back soon! We need our king!
Yeah, count on it.
So there we have it, with sort of with damp eyes we say goodbye to Lucis, and we're starting to set sail across to Accordo and Altissia. So we get another thing up, a skill level up on Gladiolus' skill, which is survival, which is obviously essentially we get by just walking around. We can essentially save some of these photos. There we go. And onwards and forwards and across the sea we sail. So here we have it, Chapter 9, Callings. Noctis receives a warm send-off as he sets sail for Altissia in high spirits. The prince goes forth ostensibly to seek the blessings of the Hydrian, which will enable him to challenge the Empire's might. But his true heart's desire is to find Lunafreya, his betrothed. And there you can see on the map, what you can see us actually making this sort of trip down to this collection of islands, this archipelago of sorts, located to the south of Lucis, the Lucian mainland. And you can also see on that map, sort of to the right from Lucis is the is another continent, essentially, where we find Niflheim, sort of the Niflheim stronghold, essentially, and also where we find Tenebrae, which is where Lunafreya is from. So it's all intertwined, all very important, and pretty much once we sort of get to Altissia, once we get there, I think we'll be able to move forwards.
The wedding day arrives, but alas, without the bride. Of course, we've come for the Hydrian, and you've gone to such lengths to prepare.
Merely my duty.
Ah, but for an outsider to lead the Imperial army must be a battle in and of itself. You've spoken to Lady Lunafreya?
No.
That obstinate secretary, standing in the way, while you rush off to slay the Hydrian for your poor sister's sake. I know the price of the Covenant.
So, here we have it. This grand...
I've always wanted to go sailing like this.
Not many opportunities living in Insomnia.
Out here, it's just us and the horizon. It's amazing. It's life-changing. When we step off the boat, we'll be in a foreign country.
The anticipation alone is a foreign sensation. Then to think this is where we were headed to begin with.
We've been through a lot.
And there's still more to come.
So next on the docket is Leviathan.
What sort of deity are we dealing with?
A serpent said to embody the roar and rage of the sea.
We'll have to see for ourselves.
Can't let Lady Lunafreya do all the heavy lifting. You must be so psyched to see her.
Luna?
Yeah.
Well, we need to make sure she's all right before anything else.
Indeed. Her well-being is top priority.
Don't like this going down on Imperial turf.
You think Lady Lunafreya's in danger there?
The Empire did invade Lucis for the ring. I have no faith their ruthless ambitions will stop short of harming the Oracle.
Without the ring, the crystal's no more than a rock.
I suppose. Does anyone know how Lady Lunafreya came to have the ring?
It seems likely His Majesty entrusted it to her safekeeping back at the Crown City.
So she's held onto it this whole time, all the way to Altissia.
The ring is important, and so is Leviathan. But Luna comes first.
You know, I was thinking back to our encounter with Ravus. Do you recall an apparatus in place of his arm?
Yeah, I remember.
Seems he lost his old one in the invasion, but in its place, he seems to have acquired new power.
Power?
That would help explain how a son of Tenebrae suddenly came to command Niflheim's army.
Now that you mention it, his strength did seem sort of supernatural. I just chalked it up to the Oracle lineage.
His ancestry may be part of it, but that alone wouldn't account for his freakish strength.
I wonder what could have happened to him.
There's a disturbing rumor about Lord Ravus has taken to brandishing His Majesty's sword.
My dad's.
Then what's the big idea behind that?
That his power's the same as the power of kings?
I cannot say for sure, but I have my doubts. Ravus wears the sword, yet doesn't wield it.
For all his newfound powers, he's still the Chancellor's lapdog, holding on to the enemy king's sword like some badge of honor.
It might help if we knew what he was after.
Who can say?
What are the odds the Empire will crash the pool party with Leviathan?
Consider it a guarantee. They felled a god to prevent Noct from receiving his blessing. They'll do so again.
But we beat him to the big guy, thanks to our friendly guide.
Never know which way that one's gonna move next.
The Chancellor has an agenda all his own.
Sometimes it helps, like when he called off his army and let us escape.
But he was still a creep about it.
Well, it feels like he's only helping us because he wants something. I just don't know what.
Reckon we'll see him again?
Certainly hope not.
Not your type?
No love lost for phonies.
As Gladio said, his actions are motivated not by altruism, but by self-interest. And when he does come to our aid, I see only condescension in his eyes.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Ever think you think too much?
Sometimes, but it's always preferable to the alternative.
Are we there yet?
Oh, didn't you say you always wanted to go sailing?
Yeah, but all this ocean gets kind of bland after a while.
Last time I checked, it was amazing and life-changing.
So, soon you'll have your old man's ring back.
Yeah, when we arrive in Altissia.
Good thing. To him, it was his heritage.
Is that what my dad said?
Carrying a royal line ain't a task to be taken lightly. For a small thing, that ring can sure weigh heavy. After he became king, I only ever saw his face in the paper.
Wait, weren't you at the coronation?
No, I was long gone from the city.
Must have been invited at least.
Had a falling out of sorts with your old man. Right at the end of the trip.
You did?
I was given to understand you stayed in touch.
We buried the hatchet years later, but never talked face to face again. Should have paid a visit while I had the chance. Well, no use dwelling on it now. Got the Regalia in the hold, but y'all gonna stay in Altissia for a good while, right?
Yes, we believe so.
In that case, I'll tune her up for y'all. Not that I'll have much to do, though. Well, with Cindy looking after the old girl.
If you say she's good, she must be great.
She was never afraid of hard work. Heaven knows she had a hard childhood.
Hard childhood?
He means her parents.
Lost them both when she was little. Was big enough to understand, though. And to hurt. But you wouldn't guess that, seeing her now.
Not at all. She's always so cheerful.
Well, that ought to tell you how far she's come.
Then you must have seen your fair share of Altissia by now.
Yeah, only done been the once. Stayed a good while, though.
What's it like?
Big old city.
Big. Okay.
What?
Different. Got it.
You'll see for yourself. Foreign lands seldom lend themselves to trite explanations.
Change of scenery ought to do you good.
Well, I'm all togged out. Can't be far to Altissia now, right?
We'll be there in no time. Nice having the wind at our backs.
Lodgings are our first order of business.
All work and no play?
Make Cygnus a dull boy.
Someone has to babysit you too.
You're welcome to sleep in the wild.
Ain't no hotel, but I know a fella has a place.
Hey now.
Wescombe ran with Reggie and me way back when.
Oh, was he the other one in that photo with the garage?
Yep, runs himself a diner or a cafe or something. Go and see for yourselves.
Sure.
Does the place have a name?
McGee or Magoo or Mago, that's the one.
Nice.
You can count on Old West. He'll chew your ears off.
The government issued a statement promising that the reasons behind awakening the Hydrian would be clarified in the ceremonial address.
Got a signal.
Delivering the address will be Lady Lunafreya, who was previously reported dead. This will mark her first public appearance since the violence that befell the signing ceremony.
Lady Lunafreya's gonna give a speech?
Sounds like it.
Lord knows. This world could use some wisdom.
Won't be much longer now, Locked.
Yeah.
Isn't that just beautiful, beautiful city? I thought I'd just let them all, you know, just talk it out as we were going through.
Does this vessel have an entry permit?
Entry permit?
Relax. I got one. Here.
That's as old as they get. Seems in order. You may pass.
Prepared in advance?
Could say that. 30-odd years ago.
That's what the guy meant by old.
Lucky us, huh?
That could have ended badly.
Just sort of taking the scenic route through the city as yeah, so we let them obviously all chew the fat about everything there. A few very interesting things, you know, sort of about how they talk about Ravus and everything that sort of relates, and how also that obviously relates to episode Gladiolus as well. But then everything else they were talking about there is also quite interesting. How obviously Wescombe, the guy we're going to meet, Wescombe travelled with Cid and King Regis when they went on their travels. A few other things. So yeah, so now we're here. Here in Altissia, and now what we can do is essentially we're just going to enter the city and yeah, essentially just make our way to Margot, to Wescombe's place, and I think that will be it for this episode.
What's next? Immigration?
What do you mean? There's still more?
Sir, what is the purpose of your visit?
Purpose,
So, you should ask Ignis here. If you leave it to Cid, it will cost you some money, I think. But if we ask Ignis, it should...
a little help?
Utterly hopeless. We are scholars of the Conriats, and we've come to study the renowned cuisine of your fair nation.
Is that so? I wish you an enlightening stay.
Another one you owe me.
So there we go. Ignis gets us through.
You want to check Wescombe's place out?
Yeah, let's all go to Margot.
Perhaps we'll even make it in time for tea.
And we'd better start looking now.
So in order to get to Margot's, we should essentially take a gondola.
Dream.
What a city.
They're extending the exhibit for Lady Lunafreya's wedding dress. The Vivian Westwood? But wasn't that a memorial for her passing? Well, now it's a memorial for her safe return. Let's go see it while we still can.
Huh. Could that be the dress we read about in the papers?
Doubtless. The designer's name is the same.
Want to check it out?
That depends on the groom. Might still be a sore spot, what with his wedding getting called off.
Who says we can't call it back on? It can still happen.
True enough. Let's keep an eye out for it.
So there we get a symbol of the peace. Another sort of very brief little mission there, essentially. There's lots and lots of things that we can do here, but primarily our main aim at the moment is just to essentially zip through to Wescombe, because, yeah, we've been going quite a long time. A fair while in this episode now, so we can just get through this nice and fast, and then, yeah, we'll be able to move on. But as you can see, it's a beautiful city, very much sort of inspired by Venice and a lot of things.
Gondola! Care for a ride?
And then we can head to the floating market station, or Margot, here. So if you paid attention to my guide to the Choco-Moogle Carnival, you'll have already seen quite a lot of sort of the outside here of Altissia. Obviously, this is how it looks like in the main game and not sort of all dressed up. But for those of you who didn't, essentially the Choco-Moogle Carnival takes place in Altissia, but everything's sort of dressed up to the nines in Chocobo and Moogle related sort of festivities. But yeah, we'll head through. You can skip all of the gondola rides, but I figured we might as well watch the first one for now. But yeah, we can sort of the way they wave.
Let's head back to our room.
You can eavesdrop on some various people in their conversations. So obviously they were talking about Ravus, who's now holding on to King Regis's sword, which is actually one of the royal arms, and so we'll eventually need to grab that off him at some point. What else were they talking about? They spoke about Lunafreya and how she's now going to give a speech. And obviously the Covenant. There was also that little cutscene beforehand with Ravus and Arden, where essentially, you know, they talk about. It's quite a sort of almost quite sinister conversation as Arden makes the notion that he still understands why Ravus is sort of, or why Ravus might have such reservations about. Lunafreya trying to make the covenant with these deities because of the damage it does to her, essentially, personally. Okay, so we get to Margot's. We can now talk to Wescombe, and I think we might have to stay at the Laville.
Welcome to Accordo, lads. Sid mentioned you'd be dropping in. Wescombe Armor, as you've gathered. My word, you've grown, little prince. But of course. You were only a babe at the time.
He just stood there, staring at the church.
So this is your maiden visit. Enjoying it so far? You doubtless have many questions, so ask away.
This country is a part of the Empire, isn't it?
Oh, you're wary. I understand. But there's no need to jump at every shadow. Just be aware that the terms of our independence grant the Empire free reign to come and go as they please.
We'll bear that in mind.
It's admittedly a one-sided arrangement. Most everything we do requires Niflheim's permission. And they wouldn't knowingly permit the Oracle to appear before the public. How our government spun that is quite a mystery.
So, we have various things that we can ask Wescombe about.
You really think Luna will make an address?
If every recent radio broadcast is to be trusted, absolutely.
Where is Lady Lunafreya?
In the city somewhere. But no one has caught so much as a glimpse of her. The media has been conspicuous in its silence on the matter, which speaks volumes of government intervention. That certainly explained the rumors of disgruntled Imperial officers leaving the city.
So unfortunately, obviously, we have this situation where, for some reason, our view of Wescombe is being blocked. But we can just continue to ask these questions.
Lots of nifs around here.
We do, sometimes even at my place. Theirs is a familiar presence, and the citizens don't think much of it. Though the High Commander did cause a stir when he showed up the other day.
Ravis.
So soon after they felled the Archean and Lucis, his arrival fuels rumors that they will next come to Altissia. The Empire's not content ruling all the land. They want the heavens as well.
So that's obviously reference to the Empire, you know, essentially defeating Titan, or, you know, battling Titan, and have Titan then disappearing after the Covenant was formed with Noctis.
Business as usual at port. But word is the government will soon open the altar of the Tide Mother.
In preparation for the rite.
But on the other hand, they're scrambling to stockpile emergency provisions. This begs the question. If they're anticipating that the Hydrian will wreak havoc, why would they allow the rite to proceed? Well, if you need anything else, you know where to find me.
Thanks, appreciate it.
So there we have it.
Dear Camellia, it's been a while.
I heard about your distinguished guests.
You've an ear for gossip.
Shop till you drop.
So here we have Camellia.
Gentlemen, I won't waste your time. My name is Camellia Claustra.
First Secretary of the Accordo Protectorate.
You should know, we have Lady Lunafreya in our care. And the Empire demands we surrender her.
What?
Yet I am loath to acquiesce unless we stand to profit. Hence I've come to discuss terms with the King of Lucis. If you've a mind to talk, come to my estate.
She can be oblique at the best of times, but I assure you, her heart is in the right place.
Oh, okay.
At any rate, you must be weary from your journey. Might I suggest you seek your beds for now and ponder matters anew in the morning?
Yeah, I think we'll do just that.
Okay, so there we go. The next thing we need to do is head over to the Laville. We could do that straight away, but I think what we'll do for now is I think we'll just call this episode to an end, since I think we're running quite low on time. So yeah, so now that we're here, we're just going to stop. I hope you have enjoyed this episode as we start here in Altissia. In the next episode, we'll go to the Leville, stay there, and then we'll be able to essentially interact with Camellia and essentially go through the negotiations that we need to do in order to sort of arrange for Lunafreya to be safely brought to our care. And then we'll move on once we get to the battle with Leviathan, or at least the scenes with Leviathan, I should say. Maybe not spoiling things. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this episode and hope you will join me on the next.